The Lynches from Newry. I tell you, suddenly the penny drops for me. These men of nifty nosh in you're based where? In Warrenpoint?
Belfast.
In Belfast now, is that where you are?
We are,
yeah. But they're sons of, I said, are you from Newry? We are from Newry. Are you, what Lynch are you? We always say that, don't we? What Lynch are you? And before I could get the words out, Ciaran said, the taxi, Paddy Lynch's son. Yeah, God love you, bless you. And Barry and Ciaran Lynch, nifty nosh. 7 years in existence. What is nifty nosh for the millions out there across the world? Have you the ability to do business with Manhattan? Because that's where you're broadcasting to at the
currently,
moment.
But we'll try and get in there soon. Maybe.
First we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin. I think. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
So tell me about the project and where it all came from.
Well, basically, it enables you to
See
order.
that there? Keep that there looser. It'll pull out. Pull it. Hold that in your hand. Yeah, so it doesn't pull the mic out.
So basically, you can order takeaway food online through our website.
Why wouldn't you use the telephone?
Well, you'll have all the menus on the website, so you don't have to worry about storing the menus or having the rubbish coming through the door. You can just chuck all that. You'll have it available all of the time on any device, whether it be your smartphone, tablet, on your desktop, and you can pay online. So that's the key driver that a lot of the
PayPal or something like that, whatever it is.
Yes, you can actually just pay with your credit card. Which means you don't have to bother with dealing with cash at the door.
Yeah.
And you can reorder your last order. So if you're someone who orders the same thing every week, this just makes it a whole lot easier.
See, this is interesting because if you think about it, Ciaran, there's many's the Saturday night I'd be sitting there and I'd be thinking, God, I'd love a chicken korma or a lamb rogan gosh. And no, I would go on your website. Is that what it would do? Talk me through the process.
Well, very simply, you would come onto our website. You would put in your postcode.
Yeah.
And what we'll then do is we will give you a list of the takeaways that'll actually deliver to your door. So if you want Indian, then you can select the Indian restaurant, or you can select from a choice of Indian restaurants.
Yes.
And once you've chosen which one you want to order from, you then just go into the menu, select from very simple menu structures. You can select the meals that you want to order. That populates your basket in the same way that any e-commerce website would work.
You're buying.
Yeah.
I love what you say there. That populates your basket. I tell you, it's a long way that your dad and I were raised from populating baskets and pressing buttons. I tell you. So your basket is populated with your grub.
Yep.
And then you press buy.
That's it.
What happens as soon as I press buy?
Well, you have an option that if you're already registered as a user with us, your address and details will already come up on the. So we can tell you, is this the address you want us to deliver to?
Yeah.
And then you just put in your card details. And press submit, and that's the order.
And you're able to tell me how much it is.
Absolutely.
There's
no issue with that. We can even tell you how much the delivery charge is to your door, because we know your postcode and we know the location of the takeaway. We're able to precisely calculate how much it's going to cost, not just for the food but for the delivery. And we can also give you an estimate on how long it's going to take. So most deliveries.
How do you know how long it's going to take?
The restaurants themselves we have an application that they control, and they can change their lead times depending on how busy they are.
Yeah.
So if you come online and the restaurant is set at 45 minutes, that means that the restaurant can deliver within 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And the aim is for the restaurants to manage as much of this process themselves, and then we support it, and just make sure that everything goes through without a hitch.
Yeah. How safe is it me giving you my card details? People will always ask that.
Yeah, of course. And it's as safe as any other e-commerce transaction. So technically we don't store any card details. They're all passed securely. We use an approved third-party service that processes that for us. So we don't store card details. Everything is passed securely, and it's as secure as really anything else that you would use online.
That's good. That's clarified now, and that's out of the way. It's okay. Your card's safe when you ring, when you go online to Nifty Nosh. Where did you guys get the idea for this?
Well, I suppose a at the time, Ciaran was doing a...
Your brothers, yes?
We're brothers,
Yeah, we're brothers.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was doing a master's in McGee part-time
Yeah.
in computing and information systems. I had been working in economic development out in Tyrone for about 10 years.
I would suggest they need all the development they can
this-
get. But can you do anything to restrict their development for next Saturday in Newry?
Well, let's hope so. We
So
certainly
you're out in Tyrone and
have
develop.
give them a boost last night. In
Yeah,
terms of
you're
the-
out in Tyrone doing development.
Yeah, and it just came one day. In fact, Barry and I had been talking for some time about ideas that we had for, I suppose, using the internet not so much as a global platform, not as a platform to connect a supplier in Ireland to a customer in America,
Yeah.
because that was the real proposition that you were getting from Invest NI and Enterprise Ireland and that, and the bigger companies were benefiting from that. But we were looking to see was there opportunities to connect local businesses with local customers. And there was two kind of rationales for that. One was that whenever people were using at that stage before Skype and the instant messaging, people would have been using emails, but a lot of people were emailing people that they were going to meet later that evening, or
Yes.
people in their office.
Okay.
So it was very localized communication despite the potential for global. The other thing that we were looking at was the emerging rise of online shopping. So
Yeah.
Tesco's were really kind of starting to get into that space. And Domino's had already started the online takeaway food ordering. So for the likes of the big pizza chain, across America, Papa John's and Domino's had already started this exercise, but it was only available if you were a Domino's franchise.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we thought there's bound to be an opportunity here to offer this to all takeaways. And that was really the emergence of the idea. And we just had to figure out, the mechanics of making it all work. And we were very fortunate. We got some support from Invest NI at the outset that helped us look at the research and development.
What did they do? Did they give you personnel to research it, or did they give you finance?
They give us finance.
Yeah, so you did your own
outset. Yeah,
sourcing.
so
of
we
it.
did.
What school did you go to?
We're both Abbey
Both
boys.
Abbey. Yeah.
Boys, I went to the Abbey and I can't even begin to understand what you're talking about. But you're both top of the class for the job, yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
But I mean, what you've done, it's given to very few people to turn a dream into reality. But you guys dreamt the dream, and then you figured it out. How do we do it? And you went from there and you did it. It's a huge thing. And this might be the Prime Minister. No, it's not. Hold on. David, I'll ring you back. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. That's him. He's gone. He rings me every so often. I told him about you, nifty nosh and all of that. So it's all jolly. But here we are with nifty nosh, and the name came from where?
It was my wife came up with it.
Wow.
We had a variety of names that we were kind of toying with, and one day she just turned around and says, "What about Nifty Nosh?"
Yeah.
And it was as simple as that.
But you needed these things called apps, which I first heard of 2 years ago. I never heard of them in my life before that. And I heard Bill Tosh out of Dundalk Chamber of Trade talk about it. Apps, short for applications. And you guys took this, and it is an app that makes this work, is it?
It's a combination of applications, I suppose, but it's all internet technology. So basically what we've done is create websites that work on any device. So we haven't created an app per se, as something that would sit on an iPhone. But over 50% of our orders are coming through smartphone and tablet at this stage. So what we're actually doing is developing our websites to be responsive to work on all devices, so that no matter where you are, what device you're using, whether it be a tablet or smartphone, you can...
This seems to me, there's one or two things. Again, I'm struggling for this simple brain to understand your genius. But one or two things, that you're there 24/7 at your desk, chained to the desk, waiting for every Tom, Dick and Harry to email you, and then you go into action. Or you've got systems in place that go ching, 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 and it all happens.
Yeah.
How does that end?
Well,
up?
it is the latter.
latter.
I mean, essentially, we had to create it. It's something that needed to be automated as much as possible.
Yeah.
So what we've developed is that when an order is created, all of the restaurants have a view onto their particular set of orders. So within 30 seconds, they'll know about a new order. We do have a support service, so we have a team of people who sit essentially in a call centre in Belfast, and they're checking to make sure nothing slips through the net. So if anything
and you
doesn't
employ
get
the
picked
call
up,
centre?
we do.
Yes,
Yes,
they're our direct staff.
So that ensures that nothing slips through. So if an order isn't picked up within a reasonable amount of time, then we'll get onto the phone and just check that if there's any problems, and worst case, we'll deliver the order over the phone.
Yeah. In the 7 years on an annual basis, what percentage would you have trouble with, or have you ironed all of that out?
Very, very little. I mean, probably about 98-99% of orders are processed without a hitch.
Wow, straight through.
And I mean, if you take it to the phone scenario, every once in a while you're going to try and place an order over the phone. A takeaway might have closed early, a delivery driver might break down. They're the sorts of things that happen with us as well. So it's unforeseens. But for the most part, orders are placed and processed, and usually without a hitch.
It's very much, in the beginning, it was thinking outside the box, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was. I think a lot of people, when we proposed the idea to some people, they thought we were barking mad, you know. And we had that same, and we still get it occasionally, you know. But I just pick up the phone. But the takeaways are now telling us themselves that they prefer the online, because it does two things.
Well, it's the way it's going.
It makes it easier for them.
Yeah.
It makes it more accurate for them as well, because there are fewer issues with regards to them when they get the order on screen or whatever. They see what the customer has ordered, and I think it actually reduces the cost of processing, because it means that there's now an additional channel, and they haven't had to put in another phone line to be able to open up that. And what we actually, it was one of the other ideas around this, is that when we were talking to the takeaways at the very beginning, before we even developed the application, we had a cluster of about 6 businesses that we used as our guide, because we had never worked in that environment before. So we had 6 takeaways, a couple in Belfast, a couple in Newry. We had people like La Dolce Vita and Friar Tuck's had given us advice on what they thought the system needed to be able to do in those early days. And what we did was we built it around that requirement. But for the takeaways themselves, the capacity was the phone lines, not the kitchen. So what we were doing was trying to open up so that they could get more use out of their kitchen, and not let the phone lines and the over-the-counter be the limitation.
You see, 10 years, 15 years ago, I was a trustee of the Carlingford Marina, and we were going into the catering business. We were opening a restaurant, and I had my own restaurant there as a trial run for a summer. I called it Le Caravella. My friends called it Le Caravana because it was a porta cabin. Now, one of the things then, when we went to the big restaurant, one of the things we did, I was front of house there. I had a system where I would hit a wee machine, and I'd press a button, and it went in the kitchen, jig, 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 and suddenly it's in the kitchen. This is a kind of refinement of that, you know, and it's better for the kitchen to see it there in a tangible form rather than getting it shouted or getting it pushed in. But I mean, the fellow who says to you, I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask you what your answer is. Who says to you, all I do, sure, why would I do that? I just lift the phone and ring. Well, why is he not right?
Well, I think there's a couple of so there's the card, as we explained. The opportunity for things to go wrong are actually less when you do it through the technology. So
mishearing, writing down the wrong order.
Yes, you'll never get
confused with somebody else.
So if some of the busiest takeaways on a Saturday night are virtually impossible to get through. You know, the phone's ringing.
But they will prioritise your system.
They will. Well,
because
they can't avoid ours.
Yeah.
So because the order gets through.
Yeah.
You know, if you had an engaged tone picking up the phone, you just simply can't get your order through. But when it comes through our system, the order's there, and generally, you know, it gets accepted. So there's only so many times that you'll try and ring your favourite takeaway, and then eventually you'll have to move to somewhere else if you can't get through. Whereas with us, it's guaranteed to get through every single time, and as I say, most times, 9 times.
And increasingly, we're in an era where people are almost breathing digitally, almost in the internet space. They're growing more and more and more into it. That things like lifting the phone to place an order, it's almost old. It's gone.
If you watch young people today interacting with their mobile phones, you know, most people, I suppose, even under the age of 30 today, do not make phone calls. They don't ring their friends. They're texting, they're Skyping, they're Facebooking, they're tweeting. So they're using their mobile devices not for the original application. So, you know, more mature people like myself, I still like to phone people.
Yeah, of
but,
course,
But
of course.
younger people just don't do that anymore. I see it even with my own kids. You give them a phone and they don't think about making a phone call.
The one part of my body that I don't have arthritis in is my tongue and my voice box. I can talk more easily than this here tortures me, all of this. So I would be old-fashioned in that way. But I do see how this is growing. Now, in terms of growth, what size is your business at the moment? How many outlets have you got? What way does that end of it work?
We've about 300 outlets across Northern Ireland. We do have some outlets across London, Manchester, Glasgow, but our real aim for growth this year is to take that into the Republic of Ireland and into Dublin initially. So
Dublin would be a cracker.
Dublin, it opens the market to 3.5, 4 times the size of what we have now.
And how do you physically do that? How do you take it in there?
Yeah.
What button do you press that gets you in there?
Well, technically, there's some things that we need to do to create essentially a niftynosh.ie website. So we're working on that at the minute.
You do your own website.
We work with partners, and we have a development partner that we work with.
There's good partners here. If ever you're interested, check these people. Destination Newry, they do sort of nifty websites, so to speak. But don't forget it. Just remember that in the back of your mind, because we're here to be of service constantly. So you got this thing going. So you get your website going in Dublin.
There's some things that traditional hard work, the sales effort is principally shoe leather.
So you going around shoe leathering to the outlets?
We would have
You've
people
got your
going
price
in.
list and you've got your case,
That's
as they
it.
said about Dr. Hockey, Lord Ballyedmund, that's how he started off.
And it
you
doesn't
do that.
change. We do that, and we regular are in contact with and through the doors of the takeaways. And once we start to get critical mass and people see that their competitors are on Nifty Nosh, then we find that generates a self-referral system. So a lot of the referrals that Barry has talked about in London and Manchester are restaurants that find us and come and say, can we join up? And we set them up.
And
do
you charge them for joining up?
We charge commission on the orders that we process. We do have some setup fees just to cover the cost of creating it, but it's fairly low. It's a low cost. If we deploy technology, if we have to supply hardware or equipment, we cost
of course.
that. But it's a very low entry for the takeaways to come onto the service.
What's your business worth at the moment annually? Have you a figure that you can put on it? I see the smile coming on your face there. That's a trade secret. That's
I think
without giving it, plead the fifth.
We have to kind of hold some information.
Oh yeah,
back.
of course. I understand that.
Our ambition is to get the business up to £10 million over the next.
That was the figure in the paper.
That was the figure in the paper. And at the moment,
many years.
We're operating from 2007. But
I suppose you want to hit the 10 million by
3 years.
Over the next 3 years.
Well,
and we have achieved kind of growth rates over the last number of years of between 50 and 70% per annum. So it's that kind of momentum that we're trying to.
It fascinates me. The entrepreneurial spirit within you fascinates me. What did you guys want to do when the Christian Brothers were teaching you? What did you thought you were? What were you going to do when you left school? What were you going to do when you left school?
It probably wasn't entrepreneurial at all. Because as you get through, obviously the Abbey and that, it's fairly academic focused. So I went into IT and spent a couple of years doing that. But ultimately, I suppose I was getting a bit frustrated with that, and Ciaran probably.
I was more commercial. So I had a business degree and was working in marketing and economic development prior to that.
Sure, that wouldn't surprise you. Look at your dad, the business he built, a great fella.
But so that would have been kind of, I suppose, for me, being part of a business, running the business, and being involved in that would have been an objective of mine. So I think it was. It was good to get the opportunity. I'd spent some time working with other entrepreneurs, and it was good to get the opportunity to try and do something for ourselves. And
I think it's having that level of control, because I would have worked in projects that then ultimately were maybe, dismissed from someone 1,000 miles away in a large corporation, and you don't have that control over your own sort of destiny, I suppose. So that was really the drive. Yes, exactly. So it's that opportunity to control your own destiny.
Your own destiny. But that implies huge confidence, and to be an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur, which you guys are, and you are going to the very top. It's clear because I can see it in your demeanour, I can hear it in your voices. You're huge potential, but I mean, to be that, you drive yourself to the edge. You drive yourself beyond the edge. you take chances. You could lose everything. You know, ultimately, that's what they say. You're prepared to take the ultimate chances in order to make it happen. And you guys are impressive, and I want to say that to you because I had no idea what was coming into me here this morning. I just saw the thing in the paper, and Sarah gave me some information about it, and it's huge. It's our own sort of little slice of Silicon Valley, if you like. You know, I just feel good about it. It's great to have you here. You're good people. Give your dad
very
my
much.
regards. All right. Give
Will
him my
do.
regards.
Thank you.
Will
God
do.
bless you.
Good
We're
to
going to
meet
play
you.
you a bit of music now. Lovely
Thanks
to see
very
you.
much.
Thanks very
God
much.
love you. Take
Pleasure
care. All the
meeting
best
you.
to you. It's been a pleasure.